And so the last thing, obviously, is the Zakat al-Fitr. Okay. So Zakat al-Fitr, we've got the Prophet ﷺ. This was Ibn Abbas, I think, or I've done it in Mas'ud if my memory serves correct. He said, the Messenger of God obliged the people to pay the Zakat as a means to purify the one fasting from any speech or obscenities, and as food for the poor. So when you're giving Zakat al-Fitr, your intention is to make up for any shortcomings you may have had in your fast, and obviously so people can celebrate Eid. The whole purpose of Zakat al-Fitr is for the poor to be able to benefit. So it's like, for example, Christmas, a lot of people go actually miserable on Christmas because they don't have the means to actually celebrate that day when other people are actually enjoying it. And so the point is you're looking after, we want everyone to celebrate it. And so in Islam we say we want everyone to celebrate Eid. And so Zakat al-Fitr is a means to do that. You benefit by making up for any shortcomings in your fast, and at the same time you are giving other people the opportunity to celebrate Eid. And so no one feels like miserable on that day.
Is that what Muslims use it for?
Yeah, but that's the problem, Jalan. The biggest issue we've got here is that with the Zakat al-Fitr, ideally it should be given. It can be, from a legal point of view, it can be given any time in Ramadan. Okay, some scholars even have the time. It could even be given before, but preferably you give it in the last 10 days of Ramadan, so that they can have it, so they can celebrate. I have a real issue in the mosque with them collecting it at the Eid prayer, because I know that money's not going to get to anyone on the day. And then even if it does get, they won't have to. All the shops are shut anyway. Either it's going to go abroad, which probably that amount of zakat. That if we want to, there are people in need in our community, but in order for them to really benefit, we have to collect a lot of zakat al-Fitr to go to one individual, because it's not a lot of money. Zakat al-Fitr is about £2.50, £3. Some people exaggerate a bit just so it goes a bit, it's a bit more for people to go. Some people, I think, it goes up to about £5. Some people just say Zakat al-Fitr. It's not really that amount, but alhamdulillah, it's extra charity anyway. So just make that intention. I'm going to give that amount, and anything on top is sadaqah anyway. So either people in our community, and there are organisations that are doing this now, that are trying to help local, or give it to someone out in another country, but make sure it gets to them before Eid, so they can actually make use of it. That's the problem.
Does it have to be to a Muslim?
Yeah, Zakat al-Fitr, yes it does. Yeah, because the wisdom in this is that they can celebrate Eid.
Yeah.
So obviously they're not going to be celebrating Eid.
Sheikh, how do you know it's 2.50 or 3? How do you?
It's because of it's the weight of the because a lot of the other no. It's like in Morocco, in the other schools, the Hanafis are slightly different here. The other schools, they say it can't be monetary. It's got to be actual grain. So in Morocco, a lot of the scholars are very strict about this. The local scholars, you see these farmers come in with all their grain, and they've got a measure, a sa', basically. A sa' is like I don't know. It's like, and it's by quantity. It's by volume. Sorry, not by weight. So they have this fixed sort of vessel, and they scoop it up and put it in a bag. But most people, I've got this grain that's not been grounded even, because it should be grain so they can ground it for whatever they want. Most people don't use that anymore, so a lot of people are just giving it monetarily, and so that's the most sensible position in this day and age, really, monetarily. But it's because that you have to value that grain, and that's what Zakat al-Fitr is, and so that's going to be relative to depending on the people. So, but a sort of legal issue comes up here now. So say you're going to give it to another country, should you go by the amount it costs here and the amount there? Okay, and so just go by the amount you give here. Okay. And it's going to be more benefit anyway. So to maximise the benefit for the other people.
So when it comes to the person you're giving it, so one of the first conditions is that it has to be a Muslim, right?
Yeah.
What would consider them a person to give it? For example, you might have a new Muslim.
Yeah.
No family kind of scenario, and but they might be well off.
Yeah.
They might be in that situation. Then you have a Muslim who's poor.
Yeah, no, it has to be someone that zakat's applicable for.
Or somebody that zakat's applicable
for. Yeah. So it's basically someone needy. If it's a new Muslim and they don't really need it, no, it's not. For them, it's better for you invite them around the house and they eat with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if there's a family who's got children they need to feed, that's more the people that are going to benefit from this sort of thing. rather than just one individual. Because one individual, just invite them around your house and celebrate it.
I think there should be a little bit more of people contributing towards that, getting people involved, because a lot of families and people that spend it alone. With nobody
Yeah,
else.
especially now we've got Syrian refugees and people coming in. We've got to think about that. So there are organisations so we need to support those organisations that are doing those things locally and raise awareness about these things, because really the ideal is it should be local, because then you feel a community bond. If it's always going somewhere else, you don't feel that
Is it
impact.
best to do it yourself rather than give it to someone and hope they're going to do it?
Yeah, definitely. Like, for example, I generally give mine to Morocco, but I know those personal individuals, I give them to my hand. That's always better. It gives you peace of mind that you're bringing change to someone you know personally, rather than giving it to an organisation. You don't know. You assume it's going to the right person. But always so I would ask people do you have family members in Pakistan that are needy, or Bangladesh or Morocco or so forth. And that's always better to give it, because you know it's directly going to someone that really needs it.